Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Thursday, September 24th, 2015, around 7:05 in the morning, Belleville, Massachusetts. Nice and sunny out today. Gonna be in the 70s, another perfect fall New England day. And it's great to get out and enjoy it. I'm battling some allergies, so bear with me if I cough or something like that. Some news to report. The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Boston Red Sox by a score of 6-2. Red Sox playing out the strain. They're bums this year. And also, the Pittsburgh Pirates clinched a playoff spot. So, most likely they'll be in the NL wildcard game facing off against the Chicago Cubs. And the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs could have the three best records in Major League Baseball, and one of them is going to be eliminated in the playoff in the playing game for the National League wildcard game. It's a shame though, but that's what happens. And Dick Enberg, the play-by-play announcer of the San Diego Padres on Fox Sports San Diego, announced that 2016 will be the last year he calls Padres games on Fox Sports San Diego, and he says he might be 2017 and beyond. He might do a role as like an essayer and stuff and stuff like that. This is another broadcaster going into the sunset, because Vince Scully announced that 2016 is most likely going to be his last season calling Dodgers games. That's about it on the news. My second video blog subject of the day, my first video blog subject of the day is the continuation of the top 10 list of everything and anything. I reached the top 10 greatest Charlie's Angels episode of all time. Charlie's Angels was a classic television series produced by spelling-Goldberg Productions for the ABC television network that lasted 5 seasons from September 22nd, 1976 through June 24th, 1981. It was about 3 private detectives who were ladies. They worked for an unseen boss by the name of Charlie, and they would go undercover for so many stuff. And the angels were Sabrina, Kelly, Jill, Chris, Tiffany, and Julie, and they were assisted by a guy, Charlie's assistant, John Bosley. And here are the top 10 episodes that are the best in Charlie's Angels for the 5 years it was on the air. Number 10 on this list was Angels on the Street, which originally aired on November 7th, 1979. Kelly and Tiffany went undercover as prostitutes and hookers to catch the pimp, Freddie, who was beating up on one of his hoes who goes by the name of Rose, but Rose was actually moonlighting as a hoe because actually she was Judy, who was running a music school and stuff like that. This was a very, very classic episode and stuff like that. It was, pretty good. Number 9 on this list of the top 10 greatest Charlie's Angels episodes of all time, Angel Come Home, which originally aired September 20th, 1978. This is when Jill comes home after becoming a race car driver, and when Chris sees her, Chris was so happy, and then Chris brings Jill to the office to see Bosley and Sabrina and Kelly, and this episode was revolved around Jill's fiance, who was also a race car driver, get murdered, and the Angels had to find who the murderer was. And this was the first of 6 episodes that Farrah Fawcett Majors agreed to do to come back to Charlie's Angels and guest stars roles in season 3 and season 4. Number 8 on this list of the greatest Charlie's Angels episodes of all time, Let Our Angels Live, series finale, which was on June 24th, 1981. This episode is like Kelly gets shot in the head and Bosley gets mad, and they bring Kelly to the hospital, and like Chris and Julie are with Bosley, and they reminisce about the adventures and stuff like that. And Kelly is having emergency surgery on a brain and stuff, and then at the ending, Bosley brings Julie and Chris to like the chapel, and then and the doctor says like Kelly wanted to see them, and then Bosley noticed Charlie, he was wearing greens and stuff, and the ending had of the series had like Kelly in bed, and she heard Charlie's voice, and Bosley said Charlie was here, and they said Chris and Julie just missed him and stuff. Number 7 on this list of the greatest Charlie's Angels episode of all time, Angels on Campus, which originally aired on November 28th, 1979. This is an episode where like a couple of co-eds on a college campus get raped, and it was going to be like a white slavery thing, and it guest starred Gary Collins as a professor, but actually he was responsible for like the kidnapping the girls and raping the girls and stuff. And this is the episode where like Tiffany like is the major character on like major adventure for like as Charlie's Angels and stuff, and she's like returns to her old campus and tries to find out the crime. Eventually she gets put in a white slavery group and was going to be shipped out to the Sheik and stuff like that. And that house mother, who was played by Joanne Flug, she was actually helping out the professor in this. It was a great episode. Number 6 on this list is Circus of Terror, which was originally aired on October 19th, 1977, and this was when guest starring James Darren, and his circus was being attacked and stuff, and have the Angels go into the circus and to find a crime, and they almost like burned the tent that Chris and Kelly were in. And also this is when like John Bosley has a cat meets a midget lady called Tinkerbell. Don't forget Tinkerbell. And says the name is Bosley, John Bosley. Very, very, very great episode in my opinion. Number 5 on this list is Angels in Vegas, which originally aired September 13th, 1978. This was the 3rd season of Charlie's Angels premiere, and Dean Martin guest starred in this episode, and the character that Dean Martin was playing hired the Angels to like find out about the gambling he was doing because of job and setup. And this was a very 2-parter. It was probably a great Charlie's Angels episode. At the end, they had Robert Urich as Dan Tannen in it as a cameo, because Vegas was premiering on ABC the next week and stuff, so it was just kind of a little bit of a crossover, just as a cameo. Number 4 on this list of the greatest Charlie's Angels episodes of all time, Loveboat Angels, which was the 4th season premiere, which originally aired September 12th, 1979. This is when they introduced Tiffany to replace Sabrina, who was winning out of the storyline, got married and had a baby. In real life, Kate Jackson left the series because she was unsatisfied with like the role of Sabrina and stuff, and she got rejected to be in Kramer versus Kramer. And the Angels go on the Love Boat. It was kind of a crossover episode, and also they were going to catch like art dealers, and one of the art dealers was the character was played by Bert Convy of Tattletales fame and like Super Password. Pretty good episode. This was actually the last Charlie's Angels episode to finish in number 1 in the Nielsen ratings during the week. This was probably the last great Charlie's Angels episode, besides Don't Like Let Our Angels Live, because it probably dropped down because of like Sherry Hack, like Tiffany Well wasn't great, and also season 5. Number 3 on this list, Target Angels, which was originally aired on October 27th, 1976. This is when it was like a sniper was trying to kill Kelly, Jill, and Sabrina. They had a cameo role of Tom Selleck, who's known for playing Magnum P.I. He was like Kelly's girlfriend in this and stuff. The Angels did not have too many boyfriends and stuff in this. And it was, pretty good stuff. Sabrina actually faked her own death and stuff, and they eventually, Bosley, the Angels told Bosley to check up Charlie's records and stuff. They actually spend time at Charlie's house. They were going to meet. They wanted to meet Charlie, but he just said he was putting that house up for sale. But a great episode. Number 2 on this list of the greatest Charlie's Angels episode of all time, Angel on My Mind, which originally aired November 22nd. In 1978, this is when Chris sees a murder after getting out of a restaurant, having coffee with her associates and stuff, and then she witnesses a murder. Then killer hits Chris, knocks her out, and then she has amnesia. Bosley and Sabrina and Kelly try to find Chris. She wanders off on a beach and stuff like that. She befriends a homeless man and stuff. She, confused and stuff like that. And actually, the killer was helping out Bosley and Kelly and Sabrina about the whereabouts of Chris, but he was actually going to try to kill Chris and stuff. And eventually, the Angels got the killer. And number 1 on this list of the greatest Charlie's Angels episodes of all time, Angels in Chains, which was October 20th, 1976. That originally aired. Kelly and Sabrina and Jill went into a women's prison after one of the women's prisoners were murdered and stuff. This is probably what defined Charlie's Angels. Probably the most famous Charlie's Angels episode, and it was, very good. That very, very great that this episode was with the Angels going into prison and stuff. It was probably the best Charlie's Angels episode ever. That's about it on that. And I'll be back later on to more video blogs, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. One will be about Fall Brawl 1998 pay-per-view from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the last Fall Brawl pay-per-view, which featured War Games. The third and final video blog of the night will be about Foreman Essen, host and sports anchor at Fox 9 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Don Mitchell. Keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Brennan guy. Molly Rosenblatt of Fox 35 rocks and has nice legs. And in the words of Sean Lucha, get out!